It's Monday. It is Monday all day so far. Um, my Monday's not going great. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. Um, excuse me. I feel a little. All right. What do we? Gotta get my phone. I was wondering where my phone was, and then I did other stuff. Forgot to eat. I'm starving. Then I did other stuff and forgot about my phone. Now my phone is semi-charged. I'm sorry. I'm just catching up with some stuff. Huh. All right. Well, there you have it. Uh, got my phone back. What is this charge? Will this charge last an hour? Is that 50? We're about to find out. So, how is everyone? Uh, it's getting warmer. Um, I'm watching people stress about a couple of things. One thing I did want to bring up. I just had a cup of coffee, so I think that's about all the coffee we're gonna have at night. God dang it, I'm tired. One thing we were talking about. I was thinking about earlier today. We're gonna hop into it. I hope people are in the chat. I mean, I don't even know if I'm talking to people. We have to fix our whole dealio. You got to know if you're interacting, and it's really hard to know if you're interacting with the way this whole new app setup is set up. Sort of crazy. Uh, so I was talking about China. Uh, not really talking, but I was texting about China. And China, oh my God. So China has shut this city down, the whole city. No one can go out. You can't go any further than your front door. So you better own a house and have a yard, right? And if you have a yard, you can't be outside in the fresh air. Uh, and people were protesting this by being on their balconies in the city, mind you, a giant city, singing and stuff. And there was a giant drone that people filmed with their phones with a speaker on it going, uh, fight your desire for freedom. And I was like, what? Uh, they're talking about people may starve, right? Because they're not, well, first of all, um, the food is different. Oh, excuse me. The food is different, right? You got a lot more processed nonsense here. I hate to say it, but it's true. I keep like sliding out of frame. We have a weird um, process thing here, and the Chinese say what you want about their society. They eat better than we do. But here's the thing: they should be eating processed food because they got too many people. That's why some of them are eating bats. You know what I'm saying? But they want fresh fruit and fresh vegetables and fresh fish. They do a lot of fish, not so much beef, right? They do a lot of fish. Um, that shit don't hang, right? How long is your fish gonna last in your fridge under quarantine? How long they gonna keep you quarantined? So you can't have somebody deliver it because no all the delivery people have to stay home. This this implies you have stores, doesn't it? Like you have. What if you're a paycheck guy over there? Not everybody's rich. Surely somebody has to be just starting out with their savings or just at the almost end of their savings, right? Excuse me. People are losing their shit over there. It's a dystopia. Like, yeah, the government won't let you out your house. it's a dystopian sort of nightmare. It's what you see in movies. Uh, hmm, every time I do this, I'm out of frame. So do I want to go here or do I want to move the camera? Uh, Either way. That story is crazy, and I haven't switched the thing around, so I can't even do the thing I wanted to do. I guess I could just for the shows. Wow, excuse me. Flip it back. Again, I've been up early. I got up early today, and I was like, crap, I'm not gonna be able to go back to sleep. The first thing I thought was, am I gonna be able to get a pod in if I'm up now at like freaking 5 in the morning, 4:35 in the morning, right? Am I gonna be lucid enough at around 6:30 to do this show? Uh, I was sort of thinking about doing it early because that always enters my head when I'm like doing nothing at like 4. Uh, Remember in the early days, those of you who are watching, it was at 4, then it was at 8, then it was at back to 4, then it was at 6, then it was at 4 again, right? It was like some big moves. The Russians plan A in Ukraine failed. Here's what plan B could look like. Yeah, people are talking shit like this thing is over. I'm like, y'all need to calm down. Granted, it did not get off the way the Russians wanted to get off, but I mean, they are still a ginormous country. It's like if America invaded Cuba and you caught other people and you embarrassed the state, but it wasn't just a weekend in fucking 63 or 62 or wherever it was, right? The Bad Pigs. What if you said okay, and then you redoubled your efforts? Do you think Cuba will have a chance against America? I didn't think so. Yeah, neither do I. So these people, everybody, just temper, temper your enthusiasm for this business. And mind you, it's fucking war. I would like to remind you that um, the same thing was going on with ISIS, and they stopped ISIS from putting that shit on YouTube, right? And you may go, well, freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech, images. But now on my YouTube, there's a ton of like sketchy footage written in Ukrainian that you don't even know what it is. So I'm just kind of like, how much of this is legitimate? How much of this is you sanctioning this thing, this war, right? If you did the same thing with Africans, do you think that YouTube would be fine with it? There's a lot of propaganda. Just remember, everybody's speaking to you, and everybody's got an angle. So I'm not saying maybe that angle suits you, but know that they have an angle. Maybe that angle is maybe you are properly. Maybe you are aligned with their angle, whatever that angle happens to be, right? So yeah, of course you do. So if someone showed up and was like, "Hey, um, Black Lives Matter, and you should join us against Bob," right? And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, Black Lives Matter has an angle, and they don't like Bob because of X, right?" Someone else may come through, "Hey, we're endorsing Bob with the NAACP, right? And we're a black group too, but we endorse Bob because this." Then you got to be like, "Okay, I'm aligned with both of these groups, sort of. Which one? What are they talking about? Which one? Who am I more aligned with?" But if they came through talking about, "Hey, we're Black Lives Matter," you're not aligned with that. You're one of these conservative neo-Nazi. Not well, that was wrong. You're one of these, let's just say, religiously conservative people. Um, you may not be aligned, right? Uh, Tish Cyrus files for divorce on Billy Ray Cyrus has 28 years of money. Why? Oh boy. No, it doesn't. What is the point? Lori Vallow charged with killing her children and ruled mentally fit to stand trial. So what was it like a year and a half ago? They ruled she was unfit to stand trial, and the dude was fit to stand trial. And now they revived her after a year. Now she's fit to stand trial because that's the way that shit works. One moment you're crazy, the next moment you're not because the government says so. And there's all sorts of crazy. Well, the government doesn't believe in crazy. The government believes in vengeance. Um, until it doesn't, quite frankly. But yeah, come on, she killed her kids. That's just like she the one. This is how I knew that they were dead. And it sounds dark, but like the girl ran away. They said they both ran away separate, different at different times. But I'm like, the girl ran away and she took her phone and she hasn't called anybody. What teenage girl disappears and doesn't call anybody, right? Just dead activity, not looking up anything, even if she's not calling you. I had really bad, and then they turn up in your yard. You're just horrible. You got the wrong one. Jussie Smollett released song after jail release. See, he's just tempting fate. Um, you've appealed your sentence of 6 months, and you could have got years. You appealed your sentence of 6 months, got out, and talking shit, but your appeal is under review. So they can give you more time. You were oh boy, I don't know. People are just sort of I don't even know. It's like when Bill Cosby came out that trial and they were like not guilty. He was like shaking his hand like, "Yeah, I won." I was like, "They're gonna retry you, man. Don't celebrate too soon." And they sure as hell did and put him in. He's out now, but he did like 6 years in jail. Cam Newton does himself no favors with his latest comment about women. Stop acting like nobody can have a deleterious view of womendom. Enough women have a shitty view of men. First of all, Dwayne Haskins crossing a highway and being hit by a dump truck is just next level weird. But let's hear what what's his name said about women. Cam Newton does himself no favors. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be laughing already. Cam Newton does himself no favors with his latest comment about women. All right, can I just give some advice before we read this? Look, I'm on a podcast. I can give you my comments about women, right? It's called content. However, if you, me, are homies and we're just talking about women in general, that's a different conversation, right? Um, if you, me, and some ladies are talking about women in general, that's definitely a different conversation. I think the women are going to be in defense mode. If you're talking about men and women, that's mixed group. Then it's different, right? Then it's yeah, yeah, right about this, but you do that, right? So it's a little give and take and easier energy. It's the same thing as if you were talking about black people, and there was a whole bunch of white people and 4 or 5 black people. I think the black people would feel less more about having just an open dialogue about like black and white about black people, and it would be more defensive, right? Unless you're talking about race relations, then it'll be more of an even spread of a conversation. Having said that, right? What he's doing here, it looks like, and we didn't even get into it. If what he's doing here is what I forgot the comedian's name, the comedian who was going to be on Saturday Night Live 3 years ago or so, um, and then they caught him just talking shit about everybody. He was like, "Oh, it's a podcast, it's comedy. People are too sensitive." And I did a show about that. I was like, "It wasn't. No, what he was doing. Look, if I'm sitting here on this podcast talking shit about the Jews, right? About whatever. I know you're listening to me. I'm talking to you. If I'm sitting here talking shit about something less, I don't want to say controversial. The Jews aren't controversial. Let's I could fire keg it, right? So let's talk. We're talking about fire cakes. Fire cakes? Fireballs? What? Fire kegs. Fire kegs. Anyway, right. So whatever hot topic. I'm talking about women. I'm talking about the Jews. I'm talking about I should have more of these. I'm talking about I'm always talking politics. Uh, I never talk about women or the Jews. I talk about a lot of shit. The two things I'm trying to find myself to talk about, but I talk about everything else but those because I don't really, other than the Palestinian thing, and there's too many divorces. Those are the two things I say about both those topics, right? Say them on stream. I say them in my private life. Now, if I am now at a barbecue, right, uh, and I'm holding court with people, I'm not streaming to anybody, right? It's just my homies, right? People that I'm going to be honest to. And I'm talking this looseness. Not well. I don't know what he said yet, right? And I'm talking to those people. Um, how am I trying to? What am I trying to say with this thing? I think there's two very different kinds of like. Well, there's more than two very different kinds of conversation as you went through, right? But there's also talking to your boys about it from a point of contention, right? And that contention can be several things. It can be uh, anger and aggression at women, right? It could be hate filled about women, right? Um, which isn't anger and aggression. Anger, right? Hating women is different than having anger at women. Um, it could be anything in between, right? Sad bullshit boy kind of shit about women. I wonder what he said. But it's likely, depending on the confines, to be more honest, right? You're holding court with people that you like, and you're saying these things about people. That's those are the conversations I want to hear. Versus a nice thing you say in front of a camera or on a podcast. Not a nice thing, right? But people have said things they didn't believe on a podcast to get views and stuff. All right, so let's see what Cam Newton says about ladies. I'd like to remind you, ladies are half the population, if I'm not mistaken, right? Cam Newton does himself no favors with his latest comments about women. Mike Florio, April 11th, 2022. In 2017, when Cam Newton was gleefully employed as the starting quarterback, gainfully employed as the starting quarterback of the Panthers, he made a ridiculously sexist remark during a press conference. It was ridiculously sexist that the league issued a statement condemning it. The comments are just plain wrong and disrespectful. Uh, to the exceptional female reporters and journalists who cover our league. NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy told PFT via email at the time they do not reflect the thinking of the league. Oh my God, I hate these people. You take these people out of the worst neighborhoods and you expect them to be all. You know what? You get what you fucking put in. And then you hold him up to be. Before we even finish reading that, we're going back to what he said because I got to know what he said. Cam Newton gives sexist answer to female reporter's legitimate question. Michael David Smith on October 4th, 2017, 5:29 p.m. Panther quarterback Cam Newton made a sexist comment to a female reporter. I vaguely remember this. I wish Biz was here. He would know this. Um, a female reporter smirking at her question and telling her he found it funny till a woman asked about a question about football. The incident, that was the snide thing he said. The incident started during Newton's normal media appearance, and Jordan Rodriguez, Rodrigue, Rodrigo. There's no Z. It would have been Rodriguez. There's no Rodrigue. A female reporter for the Charlotte Observer asked Newton a completely legitimate question about Panthers receiver Devin Funches. Yeah, okay. If you're reporting the thing, you don't need to say her question was completely legitimate. You can just say she asked the question. See, these are the caveats I'm talking about when they start writing shit, right? These extra words that are meant to steer you. We know but at the same time, I can condemn him and I can condemn you. Your whole league is full of this shit and racism. So yeah, so he didn't go. Look, I remember this from when they started letting women in the locker room and men would say shit. Some men would show that, right? And women would be, I'm offended. And other men would be like, I don't want them in there, right? So you had two groups. Sexist, ridiculous people going, yeah, you want to be here? You're going to see my, right? And you got other people going, this is ridiculous that women are in here. And men reporters don't go into the ladies' locker room. What is this garbage? And the league said, fuck both your opinions. This is the policy. right? Just because it's your policy and it's been around for 30 years doesn't mean it's going to be fully accepted still. It's just still your policy. People now know it. It's been in effect for 30 years. Okay. Having said that, you also know who you're dealing with in their education and where they come from in these inner city uh, con- uh, conclaves, right? Stop acting like you're shocked. I can't believe he said something sexist. The comment just plain wrong and disrespectful. Bah, 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 bah. The kerfuffle followed from Newton's answering a question from Jordan Rodriguez, then of the Charlotte Observer, about the physicality in which receiver Devin Funches runs his pass routes by saying it's funny how I hear a female talk about it. I didn't even have to look up it. They refreshed it for us. Newton is currently not employed by any NFL team. He nevertheless has opted to make multiple public comments that conjure the gender stereotype in which Archie Bunker once trafficked. This guy's got it out for him. Here's the thing. He can believe this shit, right? You can believe whatever you want. He can believe whatever he wants. Um, it used to be, man. I don't look. Listen, right? It used to be live and let live. Keep your hands to yourself. Six and seven, they break my bones, right? Live and let live. Not anymore. Why can't you believe something that someone else doesn't believe? First of all, I've said this on this show before. I'm a proponent of people being able to say shit. That way, I get to know who the idiots are, right? Who believes what? If you drive them to ground, and I don't know who they are. Also, no, I mean, also when you hide them, it gives them more energy. They come back stronger. So yeah, Cam Newton. Why and this energy I also think is it depends on how old the writer is. This energy, do we want to even look up this writer? The energy of these conversations is always permanently affixed in an age group. So you may pass through that age group. Hey William, good to see you in the chat. You may pass through that age group like um, age group teenagers, right? Teenagers are always here, right? And you will pass through. Then there's another crop of teenagers. 70-year olds always right. There's a crop, and every year there's a new crop. So this is what I'm talking about. Um, so this sexual conversation is always a static conversation among an age group. And I wasn't having it when I was 8, 9, and 10. And then I aged into my sexual maturity, like we do with puberty and shit, right? And then I did what other people did. And then when I got old enough to have my own fucking opinion and run around, I was like dated enough that I had an opinion about it, right? And then all of it, right? Because then I had an opinion about sex and sexuality. Well, what do you think about the homosexuals? What, right? Well, I guess I think this about them, right? I'm for it or I'm against it. Nobody's asked me that when I'm 12, 10, right? So then now I'm like, I don't care. So I've obviously aged out of that, whatever. So this whole thing, he is in this age group, right? Of let's say 17 to I want to say 35, 40, right? Uh, who ponder this shit really? I don't want to. I don't want to gays in my workplace and the transgender, Yet, granted, the newspaper people own everything. They're pushing, but they push to age groups, right? So they're pushing AARP, not to everybody, to an age group, right? But all this sexual energy is also pushed to people with the high heel shoes and the mini skirts, push the guys with the fast cars and the flashy wristwatch and right. So you're I mean you've been working them forever. You know how to work them. So Cam Newton has a negative opinion of women. You got a ton of women out here rapping about fuck men and their negative opinion of that. And if you're broke, you don't get any pussy. Okay, prostitute. But you can't say that, can you? Because it's their arena now. I can sit here and go floozy, but the fuck am I? I'm not dating anybody, right? I'm not in this arena. So apparently, and I've complained. I'm not. Did I complain? I think I'm complaining about the gender wars, right? And this is more of that. So Cam Newton saying some sexist shit in the modern era, I look at it as being part of that steady conversation throughout time of the people in that age group. And like I said, I aged into it, and now I've aged out of it, and I don't care. But they're selling you uh, newspaper and trends and hits off of it. So I think the stuff that I think are fun are sex conversations because you're never going to solve anything, right? Things that I think are serious are political conversations because what did Otto von Bismarck say? Politics is the art of the possible. I might be able to get you to open up a school or put up a red light, right? That's different than just talking. Well, I'm going to get you to have more sex or less sex, give you to do more of this or less of that. No, you're going to think about that and go, that's not for me. Or I was doing that forever anyway. Or I never thought of that, right? Yeah, it's a constant conversation going on between, like I said, the age groups of how old is he, right? Of about 25 to 27 up to about 40, 45. But I think it's funny. I just want to know what he said about ladies. The kerfluffle from, hey, leggy lady, good to see you. Target, yeah, target demographic. I'm sure if, a lot of people don't care, but this is the kind of argument that, and it sits right because if you're in that age group, you're going, men are full of shit. Why can't I go to us? See, look at men being full of shit, right? And you on the other guy, you're going, oh, women. Why can't I finally? Well, women are full of shit. Why can't? Oh, look, women rapped about not giving any sex to because that dude didn't have any money. See there, right? So it's the ebb and flow, and the women aren't going to go, hey, you know what? The men said is I should wear less makeup and smile more. And the men aren't going to go, well, you know what? The women are right. I should stop being a fuck boy. And I love how they say get a job. Like, God, first of all, I don't know any guys who don't have jobs. Right? The first thing men have to do is work. Um, but yeah, make more money, go to college, right? What was your whatever? I think it's a little too late once you hit that point. But the fuck boy nonsense. It's every and at the end of the day, you'll either give up on it because you'll connect with somebody, or you'll just age out of it completely and have other concerns. Um, and I don't know what those concerns are, right? I'm an anomaly. I'm an anomaly of a snowflake, of a shooting star, and I've got unicorn qualities to boot. Uh, yeah, right. Oh my goodness! Don't tell me to smile. I don't know how that became a thing. I remember it being an angry thing growing up. I was like, "What did women tell? Were these women smiling?" Everyone I see is always growling at me. So maybe I don't care if they're smiling, as long as they're not saying mean shit to me. Um. Oh, did I do the? I did. All right, that's fine. Uh. It's fine. So I just want to know what he said though. Newton is currently not employed by any efforts. The snarkiness of this writer is also kind of to be commended. We absolutely know where you stand the issue. Here's the clip. He begins by distinguishing between a woman and a bad bitch, quote unquote bad bitch. He later defines a woman as handling her own but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, end quote. And the clip ends with Newton saying that when a woman declares herself to be a boss bitch, quote unquote boss bitch, the response is, quote, but you can't cook. You don't know when to be quiet. How you don't know how to allow a man to lead, end quote. All right, first of all, I love this because this all to me is legitimate to me, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is all talk in the collective, right? In the community. When I say community, I mean black people get hit the boss bitch, all these reference words to a group of why are you sitting up here listening to another group talk as they talk to each other and then parsing these words, right? I'm pretty sure he didn't send this text or tweet or email or that ended up on social media to the National Organization of Women, right? It sounds like what I said earlier. Just kicking it with your homies, talking shit, right? Right? Like I've heard guys say about the women that they love, you know, oh man, I'm going home. I'm gonna tear that bitch up. Cause I'm like, ha ha ha, right? But he's not gonna tell me, oh, I love my wife. I'm gonna go home and make her wine and make love to her passionately and delivered by the fire. No, he's talking to me, just talking shit, and he moves on. Then you put that shit on social media, and you go, he's sexist, and look what he said about women, and how dare you? Please like and subscribe. That's what this is. Um, But yeah, be a boss bitch. And I've had this complaint too. You know how many women I met who can't cook? I'm like, this is base shit you learn leaving the house. Like laundry, it's base shit you learn. Like cleaning your apartment. I mean, it may not be clean, but if my mother said I'll be there in 2 days, the baseboards get washed down because she taught me this as a kid. It's one thing to know how to do it and not do it, then one thing to never have done it and be deficient in it. You see what I'm saying? Especially since everybody eats. How what were your parents doing? How dare you not know how to cook anything? Now I'm not saying be able to wow me, right? But at least be able to cook well enough that you like what you're cooking and be able to keep yourself alive. And God forbid I show up and go, hey, yeah, I'll hang out. And you go, oh, yeah, I got some XYZ, meatballs and spaghetti or whatever, some common thing that we all have. You want me to want, yeah. But and then they shouldn't go, whoa, what the fuck is, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not hard. Nobody said you need to know 1,000 recipes, but you should have 4 or 5 breakfast dishes in your head, 4 or 5 lunches, and those can be sandwiches. Peanut butter and jelly counts. Bologna and cheese counts, right? And you should have at least a couple of meals for dinner. I mean, know how to cook something. I know people don't know how to turn on a stove. It's just so wrong. Let's check the chat. Uh, let's move the thing because I want to be able to. Oh boy, here we go with the camera again. Let's see if we can get this situation. What is going on with the back of this cam? Oh, there you go. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Just gonna leave it alone. All right. It's like when someone tells someone to calm down. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Telling me to calm down will absolutely make it worse, right? Because it implies I'm not in control. And who the fuck are you to tell me you need to slide up off me, right? And then all of a sudden, my loud voice means aggression when I'm just being loud. And I told people this is not me angry. You are about to fucking see me angry, right? And that's a whole different anger. But yeah, some people have deep voices and they're loud. And when you all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, please panic," and you're like, um, yeah." Don't tell people to calm down. Yeah, I'm a lazy cunt. I don't know. I still know how to do all those things. Yeah, exactly. Right? Both men and women should be able to look after. Thank you. That's a great look. Both men and women should be able to look after themselves and live alone as adults. Exactly. I mean, it's nice to have a roommate, but you shouldn't be so insecure that you can't live alone, and you shouldn't be such a mess with it that God forbid I come over and go, oh my God, I just came by, and you're like, oh, right? Especially family. Like I'm not me because I'm not your family, but if my nephew showed up and was like, hey, well, I guess I can throw in a couple of burgers. I got you know frozen patties in there. I'm not gonna ground beef it. I have ground beef in there. I could throw that up and make some bolognese and spaghetti. That's simple and easy, right? So all these kind of and come on, there's YouTube. I mean, I'm teaching myself guitar on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you can teach yourself how to make a pancake. I don't know how to make pancakes to this day. I've never made them. And my ex used to own me by making me pancakes. Right? It was complete open bribery, and I was good with it. Bribery, yeah, currency, pancake currency. I'm not doing it. I'll make you pancakes, really? Okay, I'll do it right now. Wait, you'll make me pancakes right now at 10 o'clock at night? Okay, I'll go out and get it right now. I don't know. Um, yep, I agree, totally agree 100%. You must have said that in your job. Someone turns up at my door and I'm like, yeah, that's another thing, right? If you turn up I mean, just for the sake of our story, if you show up, I can cook for you. But don't show up at my door. I'm ignoring it. They should have texted me or called me first. Amen. This is the modern era, people. The only people who can show up at your door, it had better be an emergency, and they had better be family and tight, close, super. Versus, in a world of text messages, you better text me. You better text me. Uh, so yeah, he said goofy stuff that's really, I would say, tied to the. It's very colloquial. It's colloquial. Even that jazz that he's talking, is blanket urbanness for the black community. But it can get very specific where sometimes I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's that Louisiana slang shit, man. I don't know what they're talking about. Or what is that? Oh, that's that LA Crip blood, Crip dancing. Everything is not, everything is slightly shaded, slightly differently. Why are my hands ashy? Everything is shaded slightly differently. But yeah, that is just as soon as he started talking, I was like, if this was a Latin guy, he like, because I used to know a lot of Puerto Ricans because I grew up in New York, and like they talk about women differently, right? So it's like mommy, they call women mommy, right? And all this kind of stuff. And if someone was using all that kind of like urban slangish Puerto Rican kind of thing versus the Brooklyn kind of thing versus his southern black. Oh, is it Chicago? I don't know where he's from. I think he's from. Are we gonna look at where Cam Newton is from? Where's Cam Newton from? Okay, where's Cam Newton from?
Cam Newton was born in Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah, the the biggest city of black folk in well Brooklyn is it Brooklyn or Atlanta? Everybody's leaving. It's the reverse migration. Everybody came up to escape racism, and then everybody's going back now just to escape globalism. um, so yeah, man, I don't know. This is why you got to read this stuff because you'll be like, "What? Cam Newton is a sexist? He's not really. He's sort of saying you saying you're a bomb ass bitch. Excuse my Brooklynish, right? You saying you're a bomb ass bitch, but you ain't bring nothing to the table. He's a sexist. What? What? First of all, somebody explain to me what he just said so I can write this down. What he's saying is she thinks she's all that, but she can't do some basic stuff. And that's essentially what he's saying. Oh, you think you're in charge, but you can't, and then you're overbearing. No, but don't be overbearing. That's everybody. I mean, he's talking about a woman here, but yeah, men too. What do they call it? Mansplaining? Don't mansplain. Mansplaining, right? Is that still a thing? Am I mansplaining? I think I'm only mansplaining if I'm telling women what to do, and I have a problem with that because sometimes new information is good information, right? You're gonna hurt your back if you squat like that, miss. Don't tell me, ah! It's that kind of thing. Man, there are actually legit things to be offended by. Yeah, exactly. This is trivial. This is what we say, right? In a 24-hour news cycle, some slow days you gotta fill. So it becomes, he said this horrible thing about women. Cam Newton is just the worst. And then you just kind of you read about it and it's like, yeah, give give a guy a shot, be about it, maybe be a little more humble. Maybe you're not all that. Maybe you need to work with somebody. Is how I could read what he said. I don't think he meant that. I'm sort of a bleeding heart liberal, so I could see some of that in there. Sometimes I read into some things what I wish was in there. But I think he was just talking about yeah. You say you think you're bomb and bad and all that, but you don't do much, right? And that is big in the community, right? Everybody's a rare breed and extra special, and you must be something to be with me. And that's really one of the things that I'm just kind of like, it's part of the gender wars, right? What do you bring? Okay, if I bring more to the table, now I don't want you. What do you bring to? Oh, he's better. What does he bring? Before you know it, you're just hopping from lily pad to lily pad, right? And like I used to say in the bar, I don't want to be the 50-year-old guy in the bar, right? God bless Frank. Frank, there was this guy named Frank who hung out in the bar that I hung out in, and I must have been 35, 40, and I felt bad because all the college kids came in and they were like 23, 24, and it was like, well, these young people. Meanwhile, Frank is like 60, drinking with us, right? And all they love Frank was a little rotund. He always had like a tweed sweat. He looked very professor, and he was very quiet, chubby, quiet. Um, Women loved him. Those 20-year-olds loved the. Oh, Frank never bought. They always buying Frank. I was like, we would get Frank and be like, Frank, are you banging these co-eds? Frank, then the question would just make him already. Frank was the best. The almost almost a Disney character, honestly, right? Just sort of small, sort of rotund, just really nice, right? And so cool that no one fucked with him. Like you could make some jokes about it, but no one did. It was always, hey Frank, you fucking sex maniac. Frank is like, and he come in and be like, no, Frank, hey, give Frank a fucking pint, right? So that I could be Frank in a bar, right? I that kind of happy to see you energy. Sign me up for that shit, right? Um, But for the most part, I don't want to be the 50-year-old dude kicking it in a bar. It is 100 degrees out here and I'm wearing a knit hat. All right. Let's put this over there. Whew, whew. It is summer, baby bubble. Oh my God. So, what is the? A couple of days ago, summer. It's been trying to summer. It has been trying to summer for about 10 days, and it's been springing and wintering and springing and wintering. But next week, it looks like summer is about to kick everybody right in the square in the crotch. Let's check the chat. Yeah, you look for the best in people. That's not a bad thing. Yeah, thank you. I feel like I have my moments, right? I can be very barky. I was barky today. I was unhappy with myself. But man, I'm gonna tell you what. This guy did something stupid as I was moving. I was like, oh, he's gonna stop. And then as I go by, he bangs on my rear window like I'm walking here. That is the wrong thing to do to me. I, you know, no fists were thrown, but yeah. But I shouldn't have stopped the car at all. Land the guns, baby. Really easy way to get shot in the street, but man, why you banging on people's cars? I almost regulated him. And these are the things, right? How much should you let go? If you let everything go, you're a giant pussy. Excuse my language, right? And how did pussies become associated with, you know, all the nice things? I mean, you're a dick too, right? How did we? There's just a lot of, there's a lot of. I think a lot of these things come from the sexual history of America and Catholic Church kind of bullshit, where to be a rebel, like since everybody was being super churchy, you would all your curses were about sex, which you weren't supposed to have or do or anything like that, right? Um, which is why one of the major is motherfucker, right? Mothers were sacred, and so now that's everywhere, and so, but yeah. Anyway, um, cheeky bar steward. What's happening to just falling in love with someone because they vibe with you? Yeah, when did that stop being a thing? Not about what one person can do for the other. Too many options. Constant window shopping. Thank you. I think that's exactly what it is. It's constant window shopping. Like I once told a young couple, I think this may have settled in the young guy's mind. I was like, you know what? You're supposed to do this like I was about to say your grandparents. You're supposed to do this like, your grandparents did this. You're supposed to meet, fall in love and go, even if you're man in love like the romance novels, go, I'm gonna commit to you and we're gonna do this thing. You're supposed to do it young, not at 35 and 40, right? And then you're supposed to set out me and you against the fucking world. Let's do this thing. And you don't get that. You get 3 year marriages and man. When I was a young person, my parents had been married for 70 years. So I come from marrying people. Um, and then, somewhere in the 80s, nobody really, I don't think really wanted to be married. I think people wanted to get married, right? And I think a way to hide, and there are broken people in the world. I think a way to hide your broken, dumb, um, is alcohol and sex, right? And then before you know it, you're all over the place with just drinking and running about, and that becomes your life. Um, and when society's unhappy, a lot of people do that. And if enough people do that, the optical illusion is that this is what we do and where we are and what we want. Whereas what that really is a cry from the whole society that people are just really more lonely and need to connect with somebody and want to be with somebody, right? But they've been kicked around so much they're sort of hesitant to be as forthright and honest as they are. It's like having technology, right? And then technology being gone, and then having to start society all over. Uh, how much of that technology can you remember, right? So you were once loved and ran around, not ran around, but you were once loved. You loved, but then you had you know bad experience after bad experience after bad experience. You sat a little out. Now you got to get back in the game. How do you get back in the game? And everybody's had the same experience, right? As soon as I see something, I've seen it before. I'm a rabbit. I'm leaving, but that'll happen, right? Sometimes I mean, the ultra bad thing can happen once, right? But like arguing, oh, we're always arguing. It was two argument, right? And it wasn't really an argument. You say it's an argument. I say it's a mild disagreement, right? And it's this. It's like maybe you're too touchy. What's everybody's sensitivity? Maybe everybody needs to back up and decompress and right before the. So I think everybody has wild triggers now, and then they just kind of go. Those who do want it, and but the other, and that's amongst the people who don't want it. They just want to, procreation for profit is an actual thing in the world. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yes, teamwork. A unit together, 50-50, each playing their strength. Exactly. If I'm good at the housekeeping and staying here and you make more, let's do it that way, right? If you're better at this, okay, we'll adjust. Let's do it that way. But all this, you are lucky to be in my presence diva shit, right? All this, how fucking dare you, I'm the man, macho boy bullshit is your problem, right? I'm a man and you're gonna listen. Why? Because you're a man. Have you seen the world is run by men and it's a shit show? That is not a good argument for you. um, I also like the argument that if the world was run by women, there wouldn't be any wars. I'm like, have you fucking met women? There are women in my family who don't speak to each other. Their kids don't know each other because their mothers fell out in their 20s. That kind of bullshit. I'm like, what are you talking about? The only reason why women don't war like men is because I don't think they're as strong and their hands hurt when they hit each other in the head. And men can do it for literally a couple of hours. Um, Sorry. All right. We've been streaming for 45 minutes. Do we have another topic? Cause we beat that sexism. I think we solved sexism. Everybody, come on, give yourselves a round of applause. We solved sexism. Yeah, good job. All right, anything else we should solve while our plate is clean? Anybody? World peace, true love, anything? No, really? Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll move on with other stuff. The window closed on absolutely solving shit. Someone should have asked me about world peace. I'm telling you, it would have worked. This guy who got hit by a dump truck, a sitting quarterback. I mean, was he high? Who walks across a highway? Okay, first of all, you want to hear a stupid story? Did I tell you this? Okay, here's my stupid story. Back in my patrolman days, we chased this guy with a gun, right? I'm on foot chasing him. My partner is in the car. He cuts across the FDR, which is 8-lane this way, 8-lane that way. I'm sorry, 4-lane that way, 4-lane this way, 8-lane highway. At night, he goes through. I chase him because I'm new and I'm stupid. He makes it across. I make it halfway across. So I run across the highway with traffic at my back, so I guess they can see me and I'm not run the fuck over. Once I hit the median, cement median, about 3 foot high, highway divided median. It's at night. It's about 10:30, 11. I work the night shift, so it must have been like 11:30, 12 actually, right? 11:30, 12. There's somewhere between there. I can't time the lights, so I can't get across the highway. So all I see is like white headlights coming at me. I'm like, oh fuck! And I look back, all I see is white headlights coming at me. I'm like, fuck! Luckily, I have a police radio. I have my cop jacket on. People saw me, right? It wasn't like I was like I had a blue jacket with NYPD on the back and my flashlight and my gun chasing this guy. So people were like, what the. But he had none of that. He had the fear of jail. And he was gone. So I call up, yeah, I'm on the They woo. They pull up to the side. I have in the back seat. Sergeant turns around. What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't you ever do any dumb shit like that. And I was just sounding like, he proceeded to explain to me, if you got clipped and could have survived the hit, Nine other cars are gonna run you the fuck over, you idiot. Right? There's no, it's a one and done. There is no way you're gonna survive. It's He's like he's stupid for trying it, but you're stupider for following him. And you know what it was? It's you when I explain I understand this shit all the time when cops get into dumb shit. Cause you will get locked in on your target, right? You have an assignment to go get that dude. And you will all shit will shrink. And I think it's a human thing. I think it happens with sports and homework assignments where you can zone in. Yeah, I it was I don't tell that story often because it was my best moment turning it into the worst stupidest thing I ever did. Right? It's like reaching something outside the car and then losing your arm. You're like, as soon as you reach for it, you go, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and then some horrible thing can happen to you. Right? It's just the blink of like he was going, I was going. He hopped the fence, I hopped the fence. He cut down the embankment, I went down the embankment. He shot across the median, I shot across the median. And then all of that, I was like, wait, I just could not catch the timing of the lights. I was like, look back, same thing. I was like, oh fuck, I'm out of this one. Yeah, would never do it again. Yeah, yeah, I survived it and I learned the lesson. I learned that I was not as clever as I thought I was, and this movie star shit of chasing people. um, yeah, no, I've been yeah several shootings. It's always yeah. I don't watch cop shows now just because cop shows make it look so fun. And as you're going out there, you think it's so fun, and then you come back and you find out that Sean Carrington got killed, him and his partner. And you're like, oh. So what else we got? Yeah, so don't be stupid like me. Judge Barr's former rep Abby Finkenauer from Democratic Senate primary. Why? Why can't she run for Congress? What did she do? The judge found that the best known Democrat in the race was three signatures short of the number needed to appear on the primary ballot. God, whew. Sometimes it's like that. We once had an election here where they tied and they both agreed to this instead of a giant runoff and all this, a coin flip would decide it. Where is that article? Coin flip decide. I want to say and it wasn't like 100 years ago. I think it was in I want to say the last 40 years. It might have been in the 80s. Wow, the 80s was like 40 years ago. Um, uh, coin coin toss decides race. Coin toss decides Oneida County Board of Supervisors race. Coin toss decides mayor's race in Minnesota. So it's apparently a thing we do a lot here in this country. Coin toss decides city councilor in Conover, North Carolina. Coin flip Alabama will let wow to change or not to change, just flip a coin. Hey, look, listen. I am a big proponent of averages, like coins, D&D dice, or the D10 here, just in case. I can't decide myself. I don't. I use it for small things. Uh, should I go to the beach? Should I clean the apartment? Okay, all odd numbers are going to the beach. All even numbers are clean the apartment. Seven. Going to the beach, bitches. Excuse my language. Going to the beach, baby. Um, Small things, right? Not big things. Not like should I, you know, get married or some shit like that. Uh, but if you've got options, should I marry A or marry B? Knock yourselves out. And the best way to coin flip is with a $50. I used to carry one on me because I'm all kind of weird and quirky. Um, then I stopped in this back. It's actually in my other. I get them and I never spend them, and so it's in the other room. But I was thinking about getting an actual coin flip, like two-sided coin, and doing the Dark Knight carving of something in one. But I think I might just get my own. I've had my own symbol since I was like 18. Designed Royal Crest flag because of comic books and all that shit. And I was like, hey, I want them in mine. You know, so there's a ton of them. So, uh, you know, should I marry A or B? Yeah. What's that? That Shakespeare. Shared options. Not. I hate referencing something and then completely pulling a fail on my memory roll. What's a Shakespeare movie Shakespeare play where I get up forget about it because now I'm stuck. Now I've got Troilus and Cressida in my head and I'm like, why what? Um, I used to steal so much stuff from Shakespeare when I was writing short stories and like whole scenes like steal the synopsis and the whole scene. Um, anyway, Finkel. So she was three. Yeah, three. Look, I feel you. It's better to be like, oh man, we needed 1,000, we only got 800, than to be like, three more people, right? Polling closed. The oh yeah. But see, this is the problem because even as you feel her pain, you can't make this right for her because that would be corruption, and the whole system is this. It's corruption. But I think it's good that you can see like, wow, three. Finkel 33 was one of the youngest members of Congress, was hoping to challenge 88-year-old Republican Chuck Grassley in the fall. Grassley is running for an eighth term. She's 33 and in the Congress. There's a lot of that. Cam Newton is a sexist. Philadelphia to restore indoor mask mandate on mid-case. Yeah, look, okay. This thing is not over. They keep opening up. And we talked about we talked about Shanghai, which is just right. It's just a dystopian nightmare. It really is. Nobody can leave, right? And the food is different, so they don't do a lot of canned goods and process this, right? Everything is fresh vegetables and fresh fruit and fresh fish. So their stores are, yeah. Look, man. Now this whole we ain't got no food in China has now totally changed my footing on if America beat China and Russia together. I think we totally could. This whole thing I've always said America could dust the floor with Russia. A lot of people don't believe that. They just think nuclear weapons, nuclear weapons, nuclear weapons. I'm talking armies. Uh, and if I think if they fire something, we've got much better technology to address it. I mean, nobody wants to do it, but to address it, I don't think they do. Right? We're a tech savvy army, and they are not. Um, so seeing them get handled in uh, Kiev, in why do I think of Yugoslavia in you know where, in the Ukraine. I'm like, oh, okay. So I've been saying, yeah, I think we could take them and them in China would be like too much, but we could take them and we could take China. And my rationale being we're way tech savvy than Russia, and I think about China is they have a bigger army, but we here we Americans we fucking like to fight. I hate to say it. Are washing guns and sort of I don't want to say itching for conflict, but when conflict comes along, America is a country to be like, ooh, what about a knife? Right? China is the country where they have to keep a tight grip on their population. So I think if America went to war with China, I think a lot of Chinese would be like, this is our chance to get out from under these fucking nut bar crazy people. Right? So now you go, well, okay, maybe we can't do both of those countries together. But then you see Kiev, right? And now you see they got giant food uh what are they food line issues, right? Their conveyor line, their production line, their whatever line, where you get from the store to the fat from the farm or the fields or the ocean to the factory to the supermarkets to you. The supply chain, the food supply chain is really fucking what? It's look. You know what their supply chain looks like? Their supply chain looks like a big. their government looks like a giant mansion, but their supply chain looks like an empty kitchen, right? A beautiful opulent kitchen with nothing in it. So the people in the house are gonna fucking starve. Meanwhile, over here, the house is smaller, right? With the Americans, but there's canned goods, there's fucking pasta like dried on the shelves, right? There's all this, there's peanut butter, like all this processed stable shit that can sit there for years if necessary, versus we need to go out hunting now. Oh, but if we stop you from hunting in the forest, whether we kill off all the animals or prevent you or throw enough bombs that you can't leave the house, you will starve in your China, like, and the house metaphor is China is a house and America's a house. Yeah, yeah, you with me? Right. So this is what I do when I do politics. I go, all right, so who's the players and what do they got and how serious are they? I just put up on my Discord a thing of NATO because I was like, what does NATO do again since World War II? And what they do is apparently they just amass and spend money. The American military industrial complex has been exported to Britain properly, to Israel, right, to France, and then to NATO outright. So if this shit kicks off, it won't be. First of all, Trump said NATO needs to get on its shit, and it was lacking then, and now it showed that Trump was right that NATO was sort of lacking. Um, but like I said, sometimes what your enemy says about you is right, right? So in America, you always use this example. You've heard it 1,000 times from me. In America, during during the Russians didn't like American Civil War. In America, during the the civil rights movement, the Russians were like, "Hey, look at Americans, land of the free." Look, and they would have these panthers like cops and firemen spraying hoses and sicking dogs on these uh, people in these black and white images. And they were like, "Yeah, look, land of the free." Um, and just like you see like pictures of drawing cartoons with like the Nazis and the Huns like killing babies and all this stuff, they had the same thing but just opposite, like with like American soldiers, American police rather, killing black babies. I'm like, look at this, land of the free, right? And it's the thing is, sometimes what your enemy says about you is right. They're not always lying about you. They're just you may want to say it's a lie, but that's the thing. It's not propaganda, right? It's the truth. Everybody, you know, may have something that they don't like, and just because someone goes, yeah, well, leggy lady, you eat peanut butter and jelly with the crust cut off, and everybody goes, oh, and you're like, I would first of all, I am shocked that anybody would even accuse me of, but you know what I mean. But it's the truth, right? Versus somebody saying that you're, you know, of I don't even have, I can't even finish that metaphor. I was about to say you're a vegan, but you know what I'm saying. And the truth hurts the most, right? And that's what it is. So I don't even know. I mean, look, Russia and China are at this point. I think they're paper tigers. I think China society cannot wait. You talk about greeted as liberators. Look, listen. China had a revolution and oppressed their people, and they're due for another one. Russia had a revolution, and they're due for another one. And we had a revolution, and I think we're fucking due for another one as well. So we will see. Excuse me. But as for like all this fear of going to war and nuking everything, I think that's just that. Those are the fears that keep you in check. I don't. And mind you, we all grew up with this fear. I don't think the people in the military around Putin, around Bush, around Trump, around Biden, around Obama, right? The nuclear people around the Queen of England, who have these things, right? Are going to be like, yeah, okay, we're totally for it. All nine of us who have to co-sign this thing, I think at the very excuse me, at the very end of it it'll likely have to break down. Someone else will be like, there's something coming at us already, right? Then I can see, wow, someone the first person to do it, I don't see doing it. You know what I'm saying? But after it's done, I see other people going, well, fuck you, and doing it. But I don't see the first person being that giddy to break the world. right? I think everybody wants you to think that. Well, this is the thing about the religious nut jobs, right? They'll be that broken in to to do it, and you think that well, one person won't be able to do it. That, but look at ISIS, right? They got a lot of people to do the dumb shit together. So if they can do it, who's to say that a cabal in your government can't do dumb shit together? But your government is always looking, right? And it tries to know when people are uh, when they're quite frankly when they're infiltrated by some other group, right? And that's what that would have to be. Bob and Jim and Bill are all being really weird. Yeah, we're transferring you and you're fired and we're putting you in early retirement. And that's it. All right, now we got three new people here, and now you got to, you know what I'm saying? So I don't buy into this Cold War fear of nuclear war. I think that's what they use for all the people who vote now because they grew up hiding under desks like in the fifth, well, maybe not in the 50s, but you know they were more connected to that. I am more connected to the civil rights era, right? Dr. King, Malcolm X, 1970s, 19 well it was over by the 1980s, but 1960s, 1970s. I am the last guard of that, whatever that was, right? I think Hillary Clinton fights, the American politician, Hillary Clinton fights her war, her mother's war, right? She's acting like men don't let women do shit, and right, so all the women of her age are on this girl power shit in a modern era where that's not necessary and not needed, right? Because they were set upon in the 60s. I'm not going to promote you to vice president and sit on my lap and smile, right? So they're sitting here going, they're fighting a war that doesn't need to be fought, and they're making enemies, and I complain about it all the time because the winds have shifted. The wind is at their back. We agree with you, right? But so I mean, I always say my government. I don't know anybody else's government, but my government is always 50 years behind. The people who are running the place, you just got weed legal now, really in like the last 15, 20 years. But it's people have been saying it should have been legal since the 30s, the 1930s, and ramped up their opposition to it being illegal in the 60s, right? And now it's fine, and it's not even legal every place. They were wrong. So, I mean, we're still talking about fucking abortion, right? I mean, it should have been settled already. But the women and the men in the 60s, it's their issue. They're fighting it over. Trying. Meanwhile, everybody younger than that is like, why the what the fight? Why what? The men and the women, grown at 40 and 50, right? Let me tell you what you should do with your body. Says me in menopause and him who's fucking 80. Because what? And this is where you are. You're still standing up the fact that there's nothing wrong with these police departments. Everybody's still calling people communists. Like what? What? You're 90, right? So everybody knows that. Like I said yesterday, we did a recap on the new NYPD just puts in their patrol guide. All right, you can't sleep with your subordinate or the witness or your CI, your confidential informant, or anybody in a youth league that you're coaching. You just put that shit in the book. People have been complaining about this easily since the 80s. It just now makes it into the book. It's the new fucking millennium. You're 22 years into the new. Why are we having this conversation? Why are women holding themselves up as the victims of men in this era? Where there's only fans everywhere. And you could do that and go be a college professor. Where in the 80s, you'd be fired if they found out you did some, what did they call it? Blue work, right? Blue, is it blue? Work blue. No, is that only comedians? Well, let's just call it fucking porn. Well, if you did porn, right? And then you stopped because you did it when you're 20, 30 or whatever, and you went back to school, you became a teacher. A lot of those ladies got fired. And then somewhere around the 89, 90s, people began to sue and they would get fired and they would stay fired. But then somewhere around the 90s, they would sue and people would be like, yeah, she did that before she had this job. And she disclosed she did some modeling. Yeah, no, so what? Right? And you get her job back. And then people would like be snide at the job and then she would sue again for sexual harassment and win again. That's when they actually made Okay, well, now we got a policy because it's costing us money. But the rest of this shit, we're just gonna let it simmer. We're gonna run through these women at work. We're gonna be arrogant and mean spirited. We're gonna be dark to citizenry. All right. So I think everybody now knows what the problems are. But the people in charge are still the problem now. They're 50 years out of date. So I think the cops will be getting something. We just started sending cops to jail over this. So I mean, it's just beginning to trickle. So, but what is it? 22, 22, 22, 22. Can you imagine? What is it? 2022. So let's say by 2035, 2040, they're gonna have a better handle of this, or they're gonna have open warfare in the streets, right? Because the people 50 years out of date in 2040 will have been born and had hookups and dating now and going to college now, right? They're just graduating now. So by 2020, 2040, yeah, they'll be 20 years into their careers. They'll likely be writing books or making moves or political offices, right? They'll be the entry level of that. And they will begin to go, this should be legal. And if you elect me to this, and I'll, you know what I'm saying? Versus the people now are 70 and 80, and it's 2022. So that's 50, yeah, 50 years. Um, but yeah, Biden has been around since the 70s, 50 years. Uh, and he got in early. He became a senator when he was like 28. Um, but you're likely if you, but like someone will likely run for senator when they're 40, right? So that's 20 years from now. And then they'll get seniority in another 20. But they can start telling you, excuse me, they can start telling you, I'm for whatever this and that, and excuse me, ooh, oh boy. All right, with Timmons from 8 o'clock. Let's check the chat. Man says many Ukrainians killed by chemical weapons in Mariupol. Wow. So here's the thing about that. What are we going to do about the chemical weapons? We didn't do shit about them in Syria. We didn't do anything about them in Iraq. We didn't do anything about them in Israel when they fired chemical weapons at uh, uh, who did Israel fire chemical weapons at? I want to say, oh boy, okay, let's withdraw the last one. Chemical weapons. It wasn't in Egypt. Where was it? In Gaza. Okay, yeah, I'm not crazy. 2009. All right, yeah, it was 13 years ago, but it's nice to know that it's still up here somewhere, filed right next to all the cartoons. Yeah. So, but no one does anything about it. Bashir al-Assad is still technically the leader of Syria. That place is a mess, and nobody's talking about it, and that war is still going on. Oh, I don't even know what to tell you. So, ooh, it is a nice. I've got a long sleeve shirt on. What's the weather outside?
It's currently partly cloudy and 55 degrees.
Okay, it's a nice 55. After a Texas teacher saw his students struggling with math, he brought rap music into the classroom. So, all right, somebody remember this day because likely this time next year you're gonna see this with Michelle Pfeiffer or somebody. Um, and then there's gonna be a scene where the guy goes, "You're a bully and you need to fix yourself." He goes, "I can't read," and everybody hugs and somebody gets nominated for an Academy Award, wins, goes up there and kicks Dame Judy Dench in the balls or something. I don't know. And that will be the Oscars. Many Ukrainians killed in a weapon. Yeah, see, I don't think they're going to do anything about it. I don't think yeah, they're not gonna do anything about it. It's just it's miserable. It's miserable. Uh, what would they do about it? Invade Russia? Look, Russia just defaulted on its debt obligation, right? So this is sort of fucking genius. I said this when I found out what they were doing. I was like, look, I never thought about this, but when they were like, all right, we're just going to attack him monetarily, going to kill his credit. We're not going to trade money with him. We're not going to do. I was like, wow. And since everything is globally inter, I mean, they could. I don't. I don't even understand how. Like the oligarchs are like, I'm not in government. I'm just a rich Russian. What the? And I was like, ooh. So this lets them. This is not just the oligarchs in Russia. This lets all the billionaire, trillionaire people all around the world know what the deal is, right? You may be super friendly, but we are still the government, right? I see this as a shot across several bows. Um, but I also see this as money is God. Everybody should know the law, and everybody should know money, because those two things are how they're absolutely straight murdering you. So back to my earlier thing, right? If I'm sitting here having this conversation with you, and I barely got out of junior high school, but I'm smart enough to know that, wow, we really need to do something. I see something going on here. We need to prepare for it. We're sick of being poor. Um, your partner should be like, yeah, you're right. What's the plan? And I don't know. We need to think of something. So then she'll go, hey, I thought about this. You'll go, oh, well, I thought about that. And then eventually you'll brainstorm something, but you're both concentrating on getting more money, realizing that the weather in your environment is going to change, and you want to be prepared for it, right? Versus uh, I want to go back to school, and your partner going, you ain't going back to school, right? The great idea starts with a thunk, a thought, right? And you want to sprinkle as much bullshit hope on that thought as possible. I would love to start a business. Yeah, maybe you should start a business. Yeah, you think so? Yeah, who knows? And then maybe it may take you 6 months, may take you a year thinking about it, sitting back there, and before you know it, you go, I'm gonna fucking do it, right? Versus, I should really wanted to go back to school or something. Someone goes, man, going back to fucking school. You gonna say, yeah, all right, man. You barely got out of high school. Yeah, maybe, right? You don't need those people in your ear telling you what you can't do. Misery loves company, right? Go with somebody. Hey, I'm thinking about going back to school. Maybe I'll find somebody on I'm about to say a dating app. There's got to be a college app or something, right? I don't know. I don't know. I would. I said mention school because my bucket thing is a law degree, and I was thinking about it last week. I was like, not getting any younger, and I'm sure it's easier to do it now than at 80, right? Um, and it's another thing in my head knowing that I'm weird. I can feel a tick going. Like I'm getting close to a day where I'm gonna have to do it. Um, it'll be fun. I mean, I've got the time of the opportunity, so right. Uh, but it would be fun to go with people. It would be fun to be weird with somebody, and that is the magic of it, right? Uh, being able to be as weird as you are, and somebody going, yeah, okay, not not being able to moderate yourself in a way that destroys any uniqueness about you. But you're with somebody, modeling yourself in a way that enhances and strengthens you and complements your your coupling, your union, your what is this? What is that thing? What is that? Whatever this is that you're doing, that's what you're complimenting. Whatever that is. All right. We've been streaming for an hour and 20 minutes. Do we have any questions in the chat? Cause I think I'm freaking hungry. I've been neglecting my guitaring. So look at that. So I'm gonna have to somehow put all of these Then I do stuff like this. I don't even know what this is. Oh, I was who was I talking to? I was telling somebody how learning this by yourself is fun, but I'm all over the place, and I should have gotten a teacher. But I didn't get a teacher. What am I looking for over there? I know exactly what I'm looking for over there. I don't have any rolled. All right, so I guess that's it. Not that that's the reason why we're ending this show, but we're gonna end the show. I want to thank everybody for coming on through. No question, just listening. I think I need an attempt bed. Oh yeah, good. All right, now listen. When you attempt sleep, prepare yourself. Um, the best sleep is cocoa, warm shower, cocoa, and a bedtime story written by the Grimm brothers and read by mom or Grammy. Oh, you can hire a Grammy in the vicinity, and trust me, you will sleep like a log. And you have to have those jammies with the trap door on them and bunny ears. You can still see the blood all over the ground. Says aftermath of a deadly Russian attack. Yeah, man. I don't even know what to tell you. I hate to keep looking at it. Historic blizzard likely as severe storm threatened millions for the fourth week in a row. Where is this at? The fourth week in a row, the continental United States will experience a multi-day severe weather outbreak. For the fourth weekend now, the continental United States will experience a multi-day severe weather outbreak. However, compared to the last 3 weeks, this severe episode will be different for a couple of reasons. So it's a severe weather. First, it will affect areas further north, stretching to the Central Plains, Upper Midwest, and Great Lakes. Is that why we were having weird weather? Because it was like 40 days. 40 days. It was like 40 degrees some days. 40 degrees is 40 degrees would be minus. Oh man, I've been trying to teach myself Celsius. You think it would be like 0 degrees, 32 degrees, and you just add 32 degrees. No, it gets wonky around like, yeah. Uh, but the phone, I used to lament. I used to have all these phone numbers in my head growing up. My mom's phone number, my school's phone number, my home phone number, my dad's work number, mom's work number, my aunt, uh, my aunt, Rhett's phone number. The only phone number I still have in my head now is my childhood phone number, my cell phone number, and oddly enough, my aunt Rhett's phone number, because I don't need to keep them in my head anymore. And just like this, uh, what is 40 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
4.4 degrees Celsius.
4.4 degrees Celsius. Yeah. It's confusing, and yeah. So all right, so we are gonna wrap this one up. We're gonna be thankful for the weather because it's gonna be balling ass ridiculous this week. Um, Summer's coming, spring is in the air. I may write a love song. uh, I was thinking about writing songs, and I was thinking that I think I'm gonna start writing love songs because they're slower and they're simpler to learn, to kind of learn and write love songs. I've got this look on my face like I'm smelling something awful, and I think it's a love song that I'm thinking about writing. Um, I this walk going down this music journey is really interesting this late in life because you've got a head full of music in your head that you know and you've loved that your parents gave you that you picked out for yourself. Um, and now you're like, you know what you like, and you've gone through all these phases of different types of music, and now that you're like trying to mess with it, when you are by yourself in your quiet times, all alone, just with you and your God, and you think, what if I could write like a really good song? Just I mean, I'm not the Backstreet Boys, but what? Just what if? You know, and you start to play with that. That energy makes me feel like I used to feel when I was drawing at the kitchen table. And like, what if I could write a comic book and work for a comic book? Because one of the first jobs I wanted to do as a young person was be a comic book illustrator. I didn't know what an illustrator, but like draw comic books because I loved comic books, and that seemed like a great job to have. Um, what if I could just? Because I used to write poems and poetry. Then I grew up and I started writing rap. I'm like, what if I could get all that back? What if I could write like a rap song or poetry again, right? And you hover around it. It's a nice thing. It's like having a crush again. You know how a crush makes you feel? It's a nice pure energy that you don't get to tap into often because the world is trying to make you miserable, right? So, like those small moments. What if I cook this and it's just kind of like the best shit? What if I could pull this recipe off, right? Those small moments of taking up things that you are sort of out of your element. Um, we should all do more of. The onesie is a step too far. A love song. Yeah, yeah. Oh, how about that for a rap name? Big Mush. Yeah, Big Mush. Uh, who don't like a love song? Yeah, your favorite love song. I like not ballads, but I like what would you call them? Anthems. Like I'm Still Standing. I love that song by Elton John. That song is just an awesome anti-breakup song with those songs that break your heart and make you think of somebody, right? You know what I'm talking about? I've got one of those songs. Brown Eyed Girl makes me think of somebody. It will always make me think of this girl. Uh Hey, where did we go? It makes me tear up thinking about it. Oh, talk about failed relationships. Anyway, but then I think of heartbreak over. I'm still standing, right? So sometimes it's good to feel like what could have been with that girl, that brown-eyed girl, right? That there's like Jack and Diane, little ditty about Jack and Diane, two American kids growing up in the Harlem. Like just a song that it may be different for everybody. It's obviously different for everybody, but you should also have a power song, right? Eminem makes good power songs, kind of like "Fuck the World, I Got This" song. Um, what's that spaghetti song? Sometimes I just feel like quitting. I still might. Why do I? I used to know something. Whoa, what is it? Anyway, but it makes you kind of like I used to be a jogger back when I used to wonder the difference between was I a runner or was I a jogger? Was I too slow to be a runner or was I too fast to be a jogger? You know, the kind of shit you do just to fuck with your own head and give you stress. I mean, I look back now and that would yeah, I do. You know, the stuff that used to stress me as a younger person. I can't even say a young man. I wasn't a young man then. As a younger person, and as you age up, at all stages, you look at yourself and you go, "Dude, really?" And it has happened so much because you live that you will. When I get to 60, if I'm lucky enough to, I'm gonna look back at my 40s and go, I wonder what it was in my 40s because I can look back on at now in my 20s and 30s and go, "What the hell was I thinking?" But I think my 40s are too close for that. So maybe my 60, maybe it's a 20-year kind of thing. But I don't know, man. I love your face right now. Oh, yeah, Hollywood is calling me. Yeah, I probably owe them money. Hollywood is a mess, man. You got celebrities shooting camera people. You got other celebrities smacking other celebrities. The whole thing is just but here's the thing. They're trying to hold on. look, all the new shit is always owned by the same people. Rap music was a new thing. It put a lot of music out of business, but now it's owned by the same people who owned all the other stuff, right? The way you steal the music, the way you steal the not music because it's done with everything, people's inventions, right? The way you steal the valuables, right? The way you loot the place is always the same. You have judges and people on your side. You write weird contracts, but all of a sudden it's written on page 740 in 3 lines. It says that they own everything. You only get 1% for 5 years before you get nothing, right? And there are these demon clauses that you can't get out of. And they're always written in what I would consider written in blood, right? They're legal documents that allow people to do some very evil shit. Um, so yeah, all right. We're gonna end this one. We uh, are gonna have a meal and write sad, mushy songs about things we love. We are gonna write an urban love song like we talked about earlier. But you know those. Those are all. I mean, good lord, I've heard some love songs from the young people in the hip hop community, and I'm just kind of like, this is a love song. I mean, oh, that is just that right there shows you that I've gotten old. There was a phrase here, I'm always trying to defend the culture and people. They complain about saggy pants, and I'm like, why do you care that their pants sag? Can I say something about how short her skirt is? What? Why do you care? Right? Um, so you'll defend one person. Oh, she can wear whatever she wants, but you'll condemn another for the same thing of choice, right? Um, so yeah, it's all bad. And one there was a song. I'm gonna use a phrase where it was beat the pussy up, and I was like, this is a love song, and I was just kind of like, look, and I get it. Everybody likes vigorous, uh, great sexual energy, but that phrase in the '50s, beat the pussy up, probably would have been worded so innocuous that you wouldn't have known what it was a sex song for like 40 years, right? No, Wake Up Little Susie is as daring as it got, and they were implying sex, right? But this song was just blatantly, like brutally a phrase, and I was like, wow, this is whose love song is this? How can I ask you to dance to this? So, that song comes on the radio, and I'm gonna nobody, but no one asks anybody to dance. I sound like a dinosaur already asking you to dance. No one asks, you, can I have this twerk, madam? No one's doing that. So yeah, and I'm sitting up there defending them with this time. I'm like, I didn't. This is what the young people. This is their generation. How are you to condemn what they all agree is fine, right? So if the young people, 20-year-olds, say that dating is tit punches and dick kicks, right? And I'm going, what in the world? And they're like, I can condemn it all forever, but I'm not doing it. It's their like I said, sexes are always at the same group, and you may pass through it. It's yeah, I get to go. What? Just like my father was like, what? So my father did slow dancing, and I want to say not jitterbug. Jitterbug was too, but no one danced like they did like waltzing, right? By the time the '70s come, people are like press dancing, right? By the time the '80s come, they're grinding on each other, right? And the music changed too, right? She's a Brick House was about. It wasn't about I love her and she. It was like look at just the fucking look of her, right? The other songs about that used to be her the look of her was her eyes and her hair and she's now it's like damn look at this bitch, she's a brick house, right? She's letting it all hang out. It's a sexual energy song. It's after the '60s when all the songs became different. You're not putting that smoke back in that candle. Being more concerned about saggy balls and boobs and trousers, exactly. I don't think they do all agree though. No, yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm just saying that it's their conversation to have in their, and they'll will out. I'm sure a lot of those young people are like, that song is disgusting, right? But it's their conversation to have. I don't think they're being brainwashed. That's normal, but they, yeah, I think there's some of that too. There's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of, I can't believe I did that in my 20s, right? Can't believe I had that haircut. Can't believe I dated this idiot. Can't believe I did whatever, right? You live and you learn and you age and you hopefully you you say I used to say living and learning is not, but it is, right? You should learn more, but you do learn, right? You don't have to keep learning not to touch the hot stove, right? You might even the stupidest people do that twice and don't do it much longer, and they've learned. What you want to do is absorb as much information as possible, get rid of the bullshit, file some away for when it becomes prescient to you. I remember having conversations with my mother, and I was just kind of like, and then 10 years later, I'd be like, huh, that's what she meant. And I feel like she just dropped all these ticking time bomb fucking things in my head that kind of go off occasionally, prompting me to call her. And I'm like, what in the, and that's what moms do right there, right? That she's not with me here, but she's with me here, right? And she's going to be with me forever because some of this stuff is like, I tell people all the time, people who complain about their kids, how did you raise him? If you hate him, it is your fault, right? The good thing about being an absentee dad or whatever, uh, it's never the father's fault. It really isn't. It really isn't. It's always the mom's fault. So, if you made a doctor, God bless you. But what up, information man? Good to see you. If you made a doctor, God bless you. But if you made a piece of crap hater of women, that's on you too. It really is. You know, people just want to be put on pedestals, and I've met enough of your sons that I'm not putting any of y'all on pedestals. Some of these people need to be need to have been raised, and now they're out in the world unhappy about unhappy about the world. All right. I honestly feel it's so hard for young people to navigate the world now. I have an 8-year-old and a 16-year-old, and I worry for them. Constantly pressure from all direction that didn't really. Yeah, I think you did have that growing up. Look, they're not. I mean, you should be concerned because you're a mom and you love them and all, but they they if they're of average intelligent and average intelligence and wit, and vigor, they're of their element. They are of these children. They're not outliers. You shouldn't be too afraid for them. You are the outlier, right? They know more about what's going on here than you do, just like you know more about what's going on in the work realm of shit than they do. But they will get accustomed to that when they age into that realm, and they will also know all this stuff that you and I don't know, just because we've aged out of it, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I think my parents felt the same way, and they thought college was the answer. Uh, but everybody always thinks college is the answer. Um, for some people it is. For some people it isn't. I just, I think people rely too much on jobs as their identity, and when you don't get the job, all of a sudden you're miserable, right? People also build in this: I'm gonna have a house and a car and a wife and kids in a society where that's been killed off, like church has been killed off, right? Um, so those people, once they take the society, will reorder it in the way they want. So one thing that millennials are doing now is they don't like all the divorces their parents had. They don't like that they didn't have brothers and sisters. So women, um, my age, a little older than me and a little younger than me, were like big on not having kids or having one and having a bunch, right? But my mom, there's five of us, and my mom thought five was enough because her parents, my grandmother had 13 kids, right? So my mother's small family was 5 kids. Now, no one, everybody has, if they have any, they have one, maybe one, right? And not a lot of people grew up with no cousins and one kid, and they heard their friends because not everybody's doing this. They heard their friend, their best girlfriend, had 3 brothers and 2 sisters and their cousins. They're talking about all the family events they used to go through, and they got to go to this wedding and that wedding, and look at all the babies that are running around. And they go, "Well, I want where's my family? That looks nice, right?" And and so now the millennials are like, I want to be married. I'm gonna stay married, and I want some kids. I don't know how many. I didn't read much about how many kids they want, but they want more than one, right? They don't want a car, yeah, but they want a house. They want marriage, right? So they're gonna reorder it. I mean, marriage is at a 100-year low. 1 and 2 people, right? What is your age, if you don't mind me asking? I am 50. How old am I? I am 54, I think. Yeah, that's how you know. Yeah. I think I'm 54. I'm gonna be 54. I'm 54. I should know that. Um, she would have liked one more sister. Oh, no, 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 no. The two is fine. Nah, I don't need any more. Yeah, I have enough crazy in the house with those two and my mom, and I had enough male crazy with my 2 brothers and my dad. So right? 7 of us in the house. That's a pretty big family for around Christmas, right? Buying school clothes, and then you put them all about the same grouping so they can talk to each other when they're sad. They can go through puberty about the same time and talk about boys or girls or whatever. Talk about jobs and shit, whatever. You don't want to have one who's 10 and one who's 3, right? It's sort of because by the time the 10-year-old is gone to college, well, maybe that's not so bad. This time, yeah. But like by the time like one is going off to college, you don't want one going to preschool, right? You want them to at least be able to wear. Though this is 2 years uh, removed because your brother wore it, and you put in storage for 2 years, and you give it right. So it's all this kind of like I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, and then by the time you're both 23, you're each other's best friend, right? You have someone built in who has no reason to lie to you or to cut your throat, right? You're of the same clan, right? They will keep your secrets from your parents as well as help you, you know, introduce you to friends or all this kind of stuff. Have a beer with someone to literally grow old with, right? My aunt Rhett is, I think, my mom's last surviving sister. So yeah. Oh, are you Gen X? Really? Okay. Yeah, that whole '60s uh love child shit. There's a ton of us running around here. Um, yeah, hippies and babies. So uh yeah, that's and like I said, my generation is that gener what is the '80s The '80s generation is the greed generation. Me. Greed is good, right? So now you look at all these young people. Their whole thing is get that money. But in the '60s, and before then, it was what their grandparents had, right? So there were black banks and black movie theaters and black this and black that, separate but equal, right? Uh, and then when separate but equal went away, all those things also went away. So then the '60s became restarting that stuff, owning businesses and doing stuff and supporting black businesses. Now the civil rights thing is different, and it's about I don't know what it's about. It's not about any of the other stuff, but everybody's rich and talking about it as they sell you something on it. Um, yeah, it is what it is, right? It's everybody will reorder their portion of the society, right? Because we're all just people, right? The president is a people. I'm a people. You're a people. Wouldn't you like to be a people too? So, like, all the races are people. All the murderers and rapists and but all people. So I think we get caught up into this. Well, the government it will do, but the government is just fucking people, um, from this society, and even the shittiest of them. are somehow less shitty than they were 50 years ago, I want to say, with the exception of Joe Biden. Um, but essentially, because the society shifts. I'm still talking about your boys, about your children, by the way. And look, you can just look at women. Women, especially here in America, are not what they were this time 100 years ago when they were like, "How dare you show up to the beach and I can see your ankle, you harlot!" Right? In 50 years, they went to Marilyn Monroe. In 20, they went to who's the other big-breasted blonde lady? Mae West, right? Um, super slinky tight, like. But around 1910, America and the women ethos thing was very much like Afghanistan. Oh God, don't let me see your ankle, you freaking Jezebel. And by the way, that's on you. If I see your boobie and I get an erection, you're an evil woman. What are you thinking? Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Um, but our situation has grown and theirs have not. Theirs has contracted. Who's the big buster blonde lady? Mae West, right? But like she was kind of like vivacious. Is that the word? Vivacious and why don't you come up and see me sometime and all that? And they were like, oh no, you are too. Like the Hayes Code came in because the idea of come up and see me sometime implied come up erection. It also implied coming, and seeing me sometime implied seeing me sometime. So all these things, all the super religious people who were doing all the dirty evil stuff, trying to keep you moral while they're doing all the, it's China all over again. It's all the same thing. Um, cannot. I can't. I don't like the way this is what's going on in Afghanistan and like Syria. I don't like the way you make me feel by looking at you. But I'm still gonna do. They do the most evil thing to those women, right? Under the guise of the man is the king of the house, and I don't know, but then you can treat people poorly, right? Under the guise of whatever you do in your house is your own business, which was what it was here. People beat their wives. A man is king of his castle. 1,000 bullshit reasons to watch evil go down as you take a paycheck of it. So yeah, um, the oh, here we go. I'm having up. I'm seem to be having issues with my whole deal. Yeah, it happened twice. So the last time, let me do a troubleshoot. The last time this happened, sometime last week, it went on for like long enough to shut the stream down. So if it does shut the stream down, we're gonna ride out. If it does shut the stream down, I would like to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with me. I hope you like and subscribe, and I hope you like the conversation. We're here most nights, quite frankly, 6 days a week, uh, trying to solve the mysteries of the universe. We did solve one. Which one was it that we solved? I think we solved sexism. Did we solve sexism tonight? Go write that Mushy Love song. Yeah, I might call it the a Mushy Love song. That's a great title. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming through. Information man, it was good seeing you. Thanks for coming through and saying what's up. Um, yeah, us Gen Xers, we had it right. We said we should have been all right, right? Don't matter who you care, gay, that should be all right. Um, but we also said the police is ridiculous, and so all these things that are still in the zeitgeist was kind of like told in the 50s, not the 50s, in like the early 60s, 50 years ago, and now they're you know, the people who have power to kind of like shift it are now finally gaining power. So we're always 50 years behind where we should be. Uh, Depends on if that's a good thing or not. All right, so it is Monday. I will be back tomorrow, 6:30. Uh, 6:30. Please come on through. Um, Yeah, I'll be back. I have to do my taxes, so I'm just realizing. Oh, I forgot to do that. I should do that tomorrow. So tomorrow, likely 6:30. If I don't get them done tomorrow, I won't be here tomorrow, and I won't be here Wednesday. But I'll be back Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know which day I'm gonna take off this week. I might not take off any, as an excuse not to fucking do the thing I have to do. We'll see what happens. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. If I don't see you, if you don't see me, please have a strong weekend. Enjoy yourself. Please don't fall for the games and the bullshit. Know that you have the power to not be a victim of the games that they run because you know they're running games. Some games are worth playing, right? But at the end of the day, you can't spend your whole life playing games. You got to build something. And we are builders. At least I'm a builder, and I'm trying to build here. We'll see what happens. Build some guitar chords and a mushy love song. All right, boys and girls. I'll see you in the next one. Next one's tomorrow, 6:30. Peace out. Always leaves us guessing. I'm gonna write a love song and I'm gonna call it either Mushy Love Songs or Always Leave Us Guessing. And people are gonna say, guessing about what? And I'm just gonna be like, guessing. All right, boys and girls. Take care of yourself. Tomorrow, 6:30. Like and subscribe on YouTube and on Twitch and here on Haps. Peace. See you tomorrow.